We are learning Gemara Brachos, page 6, in which Ravin bar Rav Ada quotes a teaching from Rabbi Yitzchak that wonders about the following verse in Yeshayahu, Isaiah chapter 3. It says as follows: Who among you who fears God and listens to the voice of his servant, who walks in darkness and has no light? Mi bachem yirei Hashem shomea b'kol avdo asher halach hashechim ve'ein no galo. So, you understand why this verse is confusing. You refer to someone who is a servant, who fears God, and who listens to his servant, and all of a sudden he's walking in darkness. Why is somebody who fears God walking in darkness with no light? So he explains as follows: Kol haragil lavo leveis hakneses v'lo ba yom echad. If somebody comes to synagogue every day, comes to shul every day, and one day he doesn't come, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mashil bo. Hashem investigates about him. As the verse says, who among you who fears God and listens to the voice of his servant? Meaning, who is the voice of the servant of God? The one who leads the prayers in the shul. The chazan is the servant of God. He is the modern day prophet, or the modern day Kohen Gadol is the chazan, the one who leads the service in the Beis HaKnesses, in the synagogue. So who is this person who always listens to the voice of God and now walks in darkness? Why is he not in the shul? Because he, instead of going to shul, he had to get up early and he had to go to work. And he worries that if I'm going to go to shul, then I'm going to start my work later, and then I'm not going to be so successful. So he says this is the person who walks in darkness with no light. However, v'im lidvar harishus halach ein nogalo. If he is going for his own needs, for something optional, for something voluntary, that is his own choice, then he walks with no light. Yiftach b'shem Hashem. He should have trusted in the name of God, as the pasuk continues. What is the connection between walking in darkness and trusting in the name of God? He says, Mishum dahavelo liftach b'shem Hashem v'lo botach. Because why is he going to work before? Why is he skipping shul so he can get to work early? Because he's worried that he won't make a livelihood. So that means that he doesn't trust Hashem. Hashem can make a parnasa, Hashem can make a livelihood for a person in a 35-hour work week, or in a work week that's a little later, when the hours are a little later. And indeed, I mean, this is certainly, the commentaries refer to someone who owns a shop, and he wants to be in his shop an hour early, but then perhaps in 1 hour he could have 5 customers. That would make up for having spent that hour in shul. And so a person has to remember that missing davening in order to make a livelihood is actually negatively impacting the one thing that truly impacts your livelihood. Meaning a person, we do things to make sure that we make a livelihood, but we cannot affect the results. We can make efforts, but we don't control what happens. Who does control what happens? The master of all things, of the vast eternal plan, the master of the universe. And so if I forsake the master of the universe who truly does control in order that I can do things over which I don't have any control, so that shows a lack of faith in God in working too hard. So, however, the implication is that if the person is getting up early in order to do a mitzvah, then he is walking in darkness without light because he trusts in God. And he's even able to walk in darkness because he trusts Hashem because he is perhaps forsaking his own spiritual fulfillment to serve Hashem, even at his own spiritual detriment. Now, something interesting about this, the way the Talmud phrases this, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mashil bo, and you saw I was hesitating for the word, God investigates about him. And so the rabbis say, it doesn't say God asks him or challenges him, God investigates. The Hebrew word mashil means causes to be asked. And the rabbis say this means that God sends his angels out to find out, where is this person? Another commentary says it slightly differently. He says, people ask, where is this Yid? And so it seems to me that in our concern for our fellow Jews, when a Jew is not in shul, when someone is missing from the synagogue one day, that is our sacred responsibility. Not to challenge, but to ask, we missed you. And that's kind of us embodying the angelic energy, the energy of the malachim, that we're asking after our friend who is missing from shul. Another thing that strikes me about this teaching is the idea that this is specifically about somebody who comes consistently to shul and is missing one day. God doesn't say the Talmud doesn't say people who don't pray, or actually Yeshayahu doesn't say people who don't pray don't trust in God. But that in a sense it recognizes that each of us are on a journey. And for a person who goes to shul every day, there are different standards than for a person who is not yet on that level. And we have to hold ourselves accountable not to some kind of objective standard, but a standard that is consistent with who I am, what I have been able to do in the past, and therefore what I should expect from myself in the future. And that it also says that there is a great amount of love and grace from Hashem for people that haven't yet come to that level. From them, HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't expect it. But for me, I know better, and I should do better. Yiftach b'shem Hashem. If we trust in the name of Hashem, we trust in Hashem's hand, that Hashem will provide for us, and may Hashem provide for all of us, miyado hamaleya hapesucha hakadosha v'archava, from His infinite and open and loving hand.